And we continue at 106 in the afternoon. Talk Radio 790 KABC, the John Phillips Show. Mr. Randy Wang's in Culver City.
John, this morning I was watching the press conference of L.A. County updating on the Palisades and the Eaton fires. I was listening to a presentation from a representative of the Army Corps of Engineers of exactly how they're going to start clearing the debris. And you'll never guess who we turned the microphone over to.
Thank you. And I'll be followed by the L.A. County Department of Public Works Director, Dr. Barbara Furr. Thank you.
Not her job, and she's not a doctor.
Close enough.
A Public Works Director, Dr. Barbara Furr. Thank you.
Good morning.
Oh, God.
Yeah, she may need to take some chicken soup and stay in bed.
Good morning.
Is that Barbara Ferrer or Marge Simpson?
Good morning. Good morning, and thank you.
And she's not wearing a mask for once, and she just coughed over the entire press corps.
No, and did you see what she had to say?
Good morning. Good morning, and thank you. I'm Barbara Ferrer, the director of LA County's Department of Public Health, and I want to take a moment to express immense gratitude to our county supervisors, especially to Chair Catherine Barger and Supervisor Lindsay Horvath.
Doesn't matter what's happening, what the crisis is, Barbara Ferrer always has to start off with, thank you so much, supervisors, for your leadership.
And she also went on to say that if your home burned down in the fire, don't use a leaf blower to get rid of the debris. She wants you to use a mop.
Yes, she did say that.
Good morning.
All right, we'll have more from Barbara Ferrer coming up later on in the program. But right now, it is my pleasure to welcome our next guest to the program. She is the state representative in the state of Hawaii who represents Lahaina on the island of Maui. Representative Elle Cochran, welcome.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Well, thank you so much for stopping by. I've been wanting to talk to you for quite some time because I first heard you on the Roseanne Barr podcast where you talked about the fires in Maui, and I thought that you were just fantastic. And there is so much that we can learn in California from what you had to say and what you experienced and lived through in those fires that can be so helpful for what we're dealing with right now in California, because unfortunately we're dealing with a similar situation as to what you all had to deal with in Maui. And we just want to thank you for stopping by today.
Well, anything I can do to help or, share my experiences firsthand to help others, because I'm telling you, yeah, you have to have been through it to understand what's needed. And I'm going through it still. So we are going through it.
Let's start from the top. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself before we get to what happened with the fires in Maui?
Yeah, well, Elle Cochran, and I'm born and raised in Lahaina. What prompted me to get into politics? Originally, I did 4 terms as a West Maui County Council member, and I just stood up to save a very sacred, special place called Honolulu Bay. And that got me involved in politics, learning about what a planning department is. What does it mean about urban zone versus agricultural zoning and things, and what was a council member. And I could tell no one was listening to the people like myself, and I decided to run for office and got in. So I did 8 years of that, ran for mayor unsuccessfully, but then now stepped into the state rep position. This is my second term going in. And yeah, in my term, Lahaina caught on fire, and my hometown I'm born and raised in, lived in for 6 years now, is gone. And to see LA is just, it's very traumatic for me to watch that too. And it's hard. So I know what's happening, but what's happening in California is like Lahaina on steroids. It's just beyond, I can't even fathom just the total devastation still occurring, so. Yeah, that's my little bit of background.
When our fire started out, our mayor was on an international trip in Africa. She was there for the inauguration the president in Africa. And I remember from your interview that when the fire broke out in Hawaii, many of the officials were not there. You were one of the few officials who was there when the fire started, and you were one of the first ones to notice that the island was on fire.
I actually, the fire chief himself did not know Lahaina was on fire at 4:00 in the afternoon. He did not know. Granted, he was out of state in California, taking his daughter something to college. So not entirely, he wasn't there. But the point is, shouldn't somebody in his department have told him? By the way, Chief, Kula Upcountry is on fire, and the whole town of Lahaina is on fire too right now. He did not know about Lahaina. And because I call him up, I'm like, hey, Chief, I'm wondering what's going on, because I woke up to the smell of smoke. I didn't hear a siren. No, there was no warning. TV's down. Cell phones are down. I'm not knowing anything that's going on, but I wake up to smoke, and I'm walking around going, what the hell? And then I call fire chief. I'm like, hey, Chief, this is Ellie. Does the neighborhood, I live in Kilauea, Malka, neighborhood need to evacuate? He goes, why? I go, why? I'm watching this whole block up in flames. I'm like, because there's a really big fire right now. Oh, let me call you back. And he goes, let me call you back. 5 minutes later, he calls me back. He goes, yeah, you need to evacuate. I go, really? I go, it is gridlock up here. I can't get out of here. He goes, oh, we'll send police to direct traffic. As he's telling me this, I'm watching the firemen roll up in a truck, get out, put their hose out, try to hook it up to a fire hydrant. They turn it on, and nothing comes out. No water. And so Chief is telling me, we'll guide the traffic. I'm like, it's too late. And I hang up, and I'm out of there. Go home, grab my dog, grab a suitcase, and I'm driving out through, yes, bumper-to-bumper traffic and the fire. Fireballs, thick black smoke turned day into night. It was just, survival mode at that point. And hello, Fire Chief had no idea what was going on.
Oh, my God. Well, and then that's the same thing, too, because we had no water here. Where they went to the fire hydrants in Pacific Palisades, the reservoir was empty. They emptied it out because they were going to do construction over there, and then they spent 11 months taking bids, so nothing happened on that reservoir, and there was no fire, or there was no water to put the fire out when the firefighters showed up.
Right. So I said, what happened? Why was there no water? Because I know the water system. I did infrastructure for Lahaina for 8 years as a council member. So the water's above me. Above me didn't get damaged. It would gravity feed down to where where that fire hydrant was. And they said, well, the fire burned all the pipes. So then nothing could flow through the pipes. I go, what? No, that doesn't make sense. So that was their answer, though, to me, why no water was coming out. And this is so many things that you're talking about. California resembles what, the layout of the day for Lahaina. Like, the top officials weren't around. Everyone was off on another island at some convention. And then the water. So what's happening here? There seems to be, too many coincidences here.
Did they ever give you an explanation that made sense to you as to why there was no water?
The pipes burned. I guess the lateral above ground PVC pipes burned, and then that they couldn't connect to the hydrants. I don't know. That's not how it works, though. I mean, our pipes underneath ductile iron, and they're underground, and till today, the underground infrastructure is okay. It is the top portion. It's our homes. It's all that above ground, irrigation and, your tie-ins to the mains, and then the pipeline that goes to your homes. They burned and melted. Yeah, okay. But that's not how the fire hydrants are hooked up. So I don't know. That, to me, they're not, saying everything. They're not explaining it.
They've given so many explanations as to what happened with our water that the governor now says he's going to investigate because no one can tell him a straight story.
Well, at least you have a governor who's willing to get down to the truth of the matter, because I got a governor who does opposite. My governor and mayor both, I have to say, are still pulling, I don't know what they're doing. I mean, they're just winging it and I don't know, reactive. They've not done nothing proactive as far as I'm concerned. And because here's the thing, the bottom line is all these billions, millions of dollars, or whatever that has come down into Lahaina, the actual people who got affected have not been, the money hasn't gone to them. And the people I'm talking about are my Lahaina generational families who own land and want to live in Lahaina. I've always wanted to live in Lahaina and want to continue to in a permanent home. But they put all this money into this temporary stuff up outside of Lahaina. So nothing has been rebuilt in Lahaina itself. Like the brunt of where the fire, the victims of the fire, their dwellings, their businesses, nothing. The harbor, none of this has come back. It's been cleared. It's cleaned. Debris gone. Majority, maybe a little bit more to go. But, besides the fact, all the infrastructure is fine. So why aren't we rebuilding? And the more we wait, the more people are leaving the town and the island. And I probably won't be able to afford to come back. I'm like really, really afraid for that. Because who's going to be able to afford the land in Lahaina and buy it all up? Is it the Zuckerbergs and the, I don't know who it's going to be. Bezos and everybody. They've already got a stronghold in Maui. Oprah, all the who's who of the rich world are there.
And they're coming back and they're buying everything up. And your constituents, your neighbors can't afford.
It can. Right. It can happen. I mean, so far, not yet. But I'm like, what is coming next? Because why is everyone dragging their feet? And I mean the county. And they're planning. And so I'm trying to pass a law right now that says, you know what? You need to exempt the businesses, the local businesses, if they just want to rebuild to their footprint they had before. Because, one, it's not their fault their businesses burned down and our homes burned down. It's nobody's fault. And so let them build back what they had. That's it, period. Let them build back, right? And the planning department for the county just dragging. And now, like I said, 1,000+ people have left. And I hope they can come back. But no one can hold their breath sitting here wondering what they can do with their properties. And it's just, we're still hurting. We're still suffering, and it's a big challenge.
Here, the people whose homes burned down are being told that it's going to take between 3 and 5 years for them to rebuild.
Yeah, for Lahaina, because I knew the infrastructure layout, and as I speak, all our infrastructure is okay. The lots have been cleared, debris has been removed, toxic soil gone, everything. It's ready. It's ready. Let's lay our foundations. Let's pop up our homes. Let's pop up our businesses. But the county's just not allowing it. And so that whole land grab thing, is that what's really going to happen? I don't know, because I can't understand why they're just not allowing people to rebuild. I mean, we celebrated the first family that moved back home, like after 18 months. One family got to move back in their home. And I was like, this is nothing to celebrate. This is actually really embarrassing right now. I mean, I'm happy for the family. But the point is, by then, we should have had that whole subdivision built out already. Because they didn't have no hoops to jump through for permitting. That was the one subdivision. It was the newest built, so it was all pretty much built to standards and codes. They didn't have to, go through all this, make sure you rebuild. We got to check what you're rebuilding. No, they had green lights. And 18 months later is when one family finally moved home. And I was like, oh, this is, at this rate, what the hell? When are we going to get 2,200 properties? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that should not be. And I've said that from day one. And I'm just still wondering, well, what is the bigger picture plan? They're not letting me in on it, and they're not letting the general community in on it. We're all just wondering, like, hey, when can I build? When can I go home? And but your folks, the magnitude of your destruction is so much larger and bigger, and that's a lot of cleanup for you folks. And that's going to take a while. But, for us, 1 5-mile stretch of land, and look how slow we're moving. They were saying, 5 years until you can reopen your business or build a home and stuff. I'm like, 5 years? No. The first person I called right after this happened, I was getting in touch with, former Mayor Joanne Yukimura of Kauai County. Hurricane Iniki came out and wiped out that entire island. She had to rebuild an island, not just a town. So I'm like, okay, fire, hurricane, two different things. But the point is, it was the hurricane. She had destruction of an entire island, not just a town. I said, how did you do it? And she really praised her planning department. They got their act together. They worked 24/7, 12 hours a day, and just pumped out permits and did everything they could. Clean first and then build. And she said within a few months, people's homes are going up already. Within 6 months, within that first year, people are home. This is not happening in Lahaina.
Well, maybe she's a person we should hire in California.
I'm telling you. Well, I talked to her planning person, Peter Salvio. I spoke to him. He has his own company. He's like a planning consultant company. He'd be the guy because he organized the entire island of one island and got it rebuilt within days, weeks, months. Boom, houses are built, people are housed, and life is going. And that's all we want. We just want that normalcy and that let's get, our lives back on track. And for government, I'm like, what part of the quicker we get our business, our economy going, the harbor flowing, the people back to work, jobs, taxation, isn't that what recovery is about? Well, none of it's happening. That's what recovery is called. We get our economy back, money, people are happy. We're living our life again. That's not happening, and it's just really frustrating. So
we're speaking with Representative Elle Cochran, who is the representative in the Hawaii legislature representing Lahaina. So let's go back to when the fire happened. The fire happened. Most of the officials were gone. You were one of the few officials that was there. You saw the fire up close and personal. You probably knew more about it than anyone else, given the fact that you were there. You served in the state legislature. And before that, you served in local government. You understand the infrastructure. You understand the island. You understand the people. Joe Biden shows up to Hawaii to meet with people who were impacted by the fire. Did you get to meet with the president?
Nope, not at all. And I guess there's a big, the mayor and, I don't know, Congress people were controlling that and, setting up his agenda, entourage, whatever. I wasn't part of any of it. In fact, it was that morning when I called the county's office. I'm like, hey, by the way, this whole meeting with the president, am I invited or can I go? I didn't have an invite. And 2 hours before they go, we don't know if we have room for you, Ellie. I'm like, okay, well, let me know. And I'm like, where is it? When I find out when I went there, they go, yeah, okay, you can come. I show up. It's at our gym. It's at our Lahaina Civic Center gym. That can hold, 1,000 people or something. I'm like, wait, you were telling me you didn't know if you had room for me? And I hear Hawaiian music, and there's luau food, and I was so beyond mad. I didn't want to walk in there. And I'm like, oh my God, I just can't. I'm so mad right now because this is not a time to celebrate. And I walked in that room, man, no eyes looked up there looking down. I was so mad. And I saw Biden. I mean, I wasn't near. I just walked in and I had no table, no chair, no nothing. I'm just like, okay, I'm just going to walk in one door and walk out the other. Screw this. But I brought a book. And I brought a book. I thought, I'm going to make this memorable. How can I make this memorable? I have a book, and I ended up giving it to Jill Biden herself, not him, but her, and said, please, you read this, or the president, somebody in the administration, because you'll understand the Hawaiian people. And it's a book called Hawaii's Story, and it's written by our Queen Liliuokalani. I have a hard copy with me here. I'm in D.C. I came for inauguration. I want this book to go to Trump. I want any administration to read the book and know it, so they understand who we are as a people and the plight and the the challenges and suffering we have had to withstand in Hawaii. But anyways, so yeah, no, I thought, we'd at least the elected officials would have like a sidebar meeting to really be serious about what the next steps are and how can, the president help and whatever. Well, no, it was like this, let's eat food, watch music and hula, and that's it, I'm like, that was horrible. I was like so mad. You don't even know. No, I was like, and my friends were the entertainers on the stage. They were not happy. I could tell they just wanted to get the hell out of there. They were like, not. Oh my God, it was a dog and pony show. It felt like it was inappropriate. That's how I feel. It was so inappropriate. And I'm like, freaking look at Biden. He's like weekend at Bernie's, I'm like, guys, is he awake or what, man? I kept going, where are we going? Weekend at Biden's? I mean, I'm like, oh my God.
How bad did he look in person?
Yeah, bad. I mean, yeah. That's why the wife had to go running around and shake hands and kissing babies, I mean, it wasn't him. He just could sit and you got to go pull the string to wave his hand up and down, But that was not a good day for me. I was so upset. Oh my God, I can't even describe how upsetting that was. But I don't know what happened to the book. I gave him the book, and this is one key piece of, I think, book literature. I think anyone who loves and wants to understand Hawaii must read this book because it's actually the words of our queen. So.
What's the name of the book again, in case people want to read it?
Hawaii's Story. It's just titled Hawaii's Story, and it's written by Queen Liliuokalani. It's the story of Hawaii, and it's in her words, right? The illegal overthrow of the annexation of our islands, and it's I think I don't know, might make some waves about this and keep pushing for the whole documentation and factual accounts of that day and when she was, pretty much falsely, held at gunpoint. She had to, give up her lands under duress for sure. That definitely did happen. I don't think anybody will dispute that. But, what kind of, amends and things can happen today, I don't know. I'm willing to talk to somebody about that. But anyhow, the fire. I mean, however I can assist and shed light, because I came here to see if there's anybody in FEMA that I can share my firsthand experience and accounts of their shortfalls, right? Their shortcomings. Just give recommendations and solutions to things that just went awry and things today while they're slowly eking out of our lives, like, oh, we're done here. Are they've left it not in better shape than they found it kind of situation, like our rental rates have just skyrocketed because of FEMA, and I think first off, wherever they're going, whatever town, they need to learn the demographic of the people that they're actually going in to help. They didn't realize that 40% of the population in Lahaina are Filipino. English is their second language. And you need to know what dialect of Filipino. It's not Tagalog, the national. It was Ilocano. And they didn't have any literature and pamphlets or information in that language. So a lot of people couldn't understand this legalese jargon, federal document things, And today you have their children, right? They're in high school. They're like trying to graduate, focus on school, college, whatever. And they got to be the adult and parent in the household right now to get through FEMA and all these documentations and whatever, and it's a struggle, man. It's hard, and they're not, they got to jump from house to house, and they just don't have any, solid permanent living. It's just everything's up in the air, and that's got to be so frustrating for them. I am so blessed and grateful that my house is okay. I mean, I am one of the few in Lahaina whose home is still there, but 2,200 others not so lucky. And where I'm actually located, I'm below the bypass, and the word on the street that day after the fire was nothing survived below the bypass. Nothing survived. I'm like, excuse me, no, I'm here, and so are 99 other homes. 99 other homes are still here, and we are below the bypass. And so I was like bringing in supplies, and I'm like, right. And chief of police is telling me, but Ellie, we care about your health. You can't go home and breathe all that in and stuff. I'm like, I'm going home. That is where I live, and that is my property and my home. You can't tell me I can't go home. And then all these other people, can I go home? I go, yes, it's your land. The government doesn't own that land. The county doesn't own it. You do. It's still your property. Do what you want. Go there when you want and whatever. And so, thank God, I went home and I found out, I got a 90-year-old auntie. I got newborn infants. I got an uncle on 5 heart meds, shrapnel in his eye. I got 3 hospice patients, on and on, right? All these needs in this community that the government is saying no one survives. And so I'm like, these people need help, and where is government? So I go next door to this county park, which is part of our subdivision. And I just commandeer it, and I'm like, call for help. And next thing you know, I got 10 Quonset huts, 2 domes. I got tents. I got, all the supplies, water, all the amenities for people, food, canned goods, clothes, and, diapers and insure for our elders, and then the, formula. I mean, everything. It was going, and I just picked the county park. I knew if I asked, it wouldn't have happened, but we needed it. So county finally rolls around, and I'm like, okay, hold on. I go, I know, and I just took the park without asking. I know this. I go, but you know what? You can see it's gone to good community need, because where were you? Where were you for us? You said we were all dead. Well, we're not, and I stepped up to help this community. They're like, yeah, okay, we get it, Ellie. So what do you need? I go, oh, well, the park needs water. So can you, pipe in some water, please? And they did. But, that's how it had to be done.
Yeah. No, it's better to ask forgiveness than permission.
I am waiting. And that's why the people who are in Lahaina right now going, I can't get this, I'm like, do what you need to do. And if anybody gives you problems, just tell them to talk to me. Because I'm going to tell them to their face, well, where have you been? How have you been helping? So you can't say anything that, against these families who want to come back home.
All right.
Because where the hell have you been to help them? And that's it.
Hawaii State Representative Elle Cochran, thank you so much for coming on, telling your story. Thank you for everything that you've done for the people of Hawaii. And I'm so happy your house is still intact.
Yeah, me too. Well, I appreciate you giving me this time to share my, my experience. And I pray for all of you in California, and hopefully my experience, strength, and hope will carry you through. But reach out. Anybody out there, reach out, and I'm here to help, and share my experiences and recommendations and solutions, because, I'm telling you, yeah, it's a challenge.
All right. Well, thank you so much. Have a safe trip home from Washington, D.C. We appreciate your time.
Yeah. All right. You guys stay safe, too, okay? Take care.
Thank you. We're keeping an eye on the fire right now that is burning near Castaic. Kevin Tripp, of course, is giving you updates every time we throw it to the KABC News Center. We're receiving emails and different messages on different forms of social media from many of you in and around those areas saying that it looks pretty ominous. So we will definitely take care of you with all the latest on that fire. All right. California's insurance crisis just seems to be getting worse and worse. Yesterday, we told you about yet another company that was pulling out of the California market. And today, Randy, we have another update on the insurance crisis.
The insurers that haven't pulled out of the market are going to have quite the time paying the claims. For more, here's KTVU Fox 2.
The wildfires in Southern California have put a spotlight on the home insurance industry. And tonight, companies are being confronted with massive...
People who knew what was going on in this state have been warning about a crisis coming for a very long time, and Gavin Newsom and Ricardo Lara acted with the pace of a snail.
Because they were more interested in other pursuits.
I'm very kind of sketchy.
Yeah, you are.
And tonight, companies are being confronted with massive new claims. At a time, some insurers have reportedly agreed to sell new policies in those fire-prone areas. New at 6:30.
You mean where the houses are no longer there?
That's a gentle way of describing it.
In those fire-prone areas. New at 6:30, KTVU's Tom Vakar reports.
Sam and Allegra Rubin lived in this Pacific Palisades home for 34 years. The first wave of the Palisades
Wait, Sam Rubin?
No.
Sam and Allegra Rubin.
Different Sam Rubin.
Okay.
I don't think Sam could have afforded the Palisades.
I don't know. He was on quite a while.
Sam and Allegra Rubin lived in this Pacific Palisades home for 34 years. The first wave of the Palisades fire missed it. The second wave incinerated it. Yet Sam and Allegra feel very, very lucky.
I feel fortunate that I have insurance, and my insurance was supposed to cancel on February 1st. Fortunately, it didn't.
Oh, wow. Thank goodness this fire happened now and not a month from now, because these insurance companies sure have your back.
If it happened a month from now, he'd probably be making a claim with the Fair Plan.
I feel fortunate that I have insurance, and my insurance was supposed to cancel on February 1st. Fortunately, it didn't, and I was out shopping for other policies that would have satisfied my lender.
Weiss Ratings, a well-respected company that grades and rates insurance companies, says Farmers Insurance and USAA denied payment on almost half of the claims they received in 2023.
Uh-oh.
Half of the claims?
That's
now,
not good.
I'm sure there are scam artists out there who are trying to take advantage of the insurance companies, but I find it hard to believe that half of the claims are fraudulent.
Insurers object, saying the rating company's data overinflates the number of unpaid claims since some claims are under the deductible, or that the policy does not cover such claims. But the LA Times quotes the rating company CEO saying, "It's not fair for me to say all these rejected claims were legitimate, but it's equally unfair for insurance companies to claim they're all illegitimate."
There's a lot of fraud out there. There's not so much fraud that 50% of the claims for those two insurance companies didn't get paid out.
No, just think about that. Just apply that logic to everything else. If 50% of the people are willing to risk going to prison by filing false claims, and you apply that logic to other aspects of life, then what, 50% of the people are lying on bank forms when they're trying to get a loan? 50% of the people are lying to employers when they fill out a job application? 50% of the students are cheating on the test?
Well, that one's true.
You could be right.
Consumer Watchdog President Jamie Court says this.
I think it's really troubling when you have two companies that are paying only 50% of the claims that are submitted. The industry standard is 37%.
That's not good either.
No. Boy, we might live among a bunch of deadbeats.
Well, I'm telling you, we are at the end of the concept of insurance. It doesn't make sense anymore.
That's not very good either. But over the course of time, these two companies have consistently paid much less than the other companies, 12, 13%.
Ann Mitchell lost her Altadena home as well as a small jewelry shop. Her private insurer had canceled her a while back and forced her to find an alternative.
I feel the Fair Plan's getting an update.
I have a feeling you're right.
I have a new insurance agent. She said, you just have to do Fair Plan because it's the only thing available.
I just don't really see, just with prices, that I'll be able to rebuild the house in a similar way.
The Insurance Journal, a trade magazine, reports that the California Fair Plan has $377 million to pay claims, plus $5.75 billion in insurance it bought to cover mass disasters.
Wait, how did the Fair Plan get insurance?
None of this makes any sense to me at all.
It is a giant house of cards, and it is all crumbling.
$5.75 billion in insurance it bought to cover mass disasters. Now, if that's true, the Fair Plan has just over $6 billion to pay claims. The Los Angeles fires alone could cost $8 billion, to say nothing of the rest of the state.
Oh, my.
This is going to cost a fortune.
But does it really have that much?
I've seen what the analysts say about those contracts, And if you add it all up, it's only $2.5 billion that they have access to without spending their own money.
If insurers have to make up the difference for this and future fires, Consumer Watchdog says the insurance commissioner wrote a memo saying it's okay to pass on that to all of the other policyholders.
Thanks, Ricardo Lara.
Boy, he's really looking out for us, isn't he?
I'm very kind of sketchy.
It's like a battlefield without the bodies.
Tom Bakar, KTVU, Fox 2 News.
There's the latest on the ever-worsening insurance crisis. Insurance companies may not pay out some of these claims based on what they did last year and the year before that and the year before that.
I wonder if this is going to end up contributing to the population shifts going on right now in the country, where if people cannot afford to pay their insurance premiums in California, premiums that their bank requires, and they're way ahead on their house, which many of them are, if these people are just going to cash in their chips and say, okay, we're going to leave California and we're going to go to some other state where the cost of living and the cost of insurance is much lower.
Don't go to Florida.
No.
I just saw a story today. Florida now is dropping anybody that has solar panels on their roofs.
Why is that?
They wouldn't say. They just started dropping people. Insurance companies will find any excuse possible to drop you.
They must cost a fortune to replace if they get ripped up in a hurricane.
There is that.
If you'd like to email the show, you can do so at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. That's johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. And Randy, you're monitoring the mailbag.
Alex writes in at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com and says, that stolen EDD money would have been really handy right now with the fires. Just saying.
Yeah, no kidding, especially since it was, north of $30 billion?
Could have paid for the whole fire.
It's John Phillips Show on Talk Radio 790 KABC.